Okay. All right, so I believe we are recording. Yes. All right, so welcome to this information session about RYLA Camp. My name is Todd St. Vrain. I'm the Volunteer Executive Director for RYLA, and I am part of the Rotary Club of San Francisco, which is one of the principal sponsors of RYLA. And I'm joined tonight by two of our alumni. So Ava, could you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Eva. I go to El Camino High School and I'm a senior. I have done one RYLA as a camper and one RYLA as an alumni, so this would be my third RYLA coming up.
Excellent. And Wayne, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Wayne. I'm currently a student at UC Berkeley as a freshman. My first RYLA was in 2023 as a camper, and then I became an alumni in 2024. And so this would also be my third RYLA.
Excellent. So I think this is going to be my fourth RYLA coming up. I never went to RYLA as a student, just as a staff member here. So let's go ahead and start our slide presentation here and go and get underway. Now, you are welcome to put questions into the chat as we go along, but you might want to hold off until the end simply because we might be covering your questions as we go along. So RYLA stands for the Rotary Youth Leadership Academy. It's a 5-day camp that's going to be happening July 28th through August 1st, which we hold down at Redwood Glen Camp and Conference Center in Scotts Valley. So it is sponsored by local Rotary clubs. So Rotary is a service organization that was actually started in Chicago back in 1905 by a guy named Paul Harris. And then he came to San Francisco and started the Rotary Club of San Francisco, which I'm a member of, and is actually the second oldest Rotary Club in the world. So Rotary's logo there is like a wheel with gear. So we're all about people of action and service above self. So we participate and fund projects and volunteer activities in health, in environment, community service, but also youth. And RYLA has been an official part of Rotary since 1971. And since then, Rotary, there are tens of thousands of Rotary chapters around the world. There are hundreds of RYLA camps happening every year, not just in the US, but around the world. So it's a very big tradition that we would hope that you can come to be a part of. So for our RYLA, this year will mark the 39th annual RYLA for San Francisco, San Mateo, and Marin counties. And it is free to you as students because it is supported by the local Rotary clubs and individual Rotarians. So let's talk about what we're trying to, the goals for the camp. So it is very much about leadership development for youth. We do not see you as the leaders of tomorrow. We see you as leaders for today into tomorrow, and we want to invest in you to take action now and to serve you into the future. We also see that leadership development is very tied to your personal growth. So a lot of the activities at RYLA focus about your own personal development. And we also see RYLA as being a way to support youth mental well-being. We know that there's a lot of mental health issues in our society. And, being a teenager can be kind of challenging, crazy, but also with this complex world we live in, social media, can also add to that. So there's also a lot of fun that takes place at RYLA, and you're going to make a lot of friends, and we see that as promoting your well-being. So let's just cover some basics. Again, it is a 5-day camp. You will be overnighting at the camp, so you do not go home during the camp. And we are looking to have about 150 students coming from more than 45 schools. And it is open if you are a current freshman, sophomore, or junior in our 3 counties of SF, San Mateo, and Marin. The reason for that is RYLA is organized as districts, and our districts are the clubs in those counties. there are other RYLAs happening in other parts of the Bay. So we are a volunteer organization, over 60 staff. We have facilitators who are going to be like your basically camp counselors and your teams. We're going to be having our alumni, and we also have our support staff. So it's quite a big undertaking. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to our next slide. So we're going to talk about the camp themes. So we do not train you to be a leader. That implies that you follow certain things and you then come out as a leader. We think that everyone has leadership potential, and we're all at different places where we are in our development as leader. So we take from the work of Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner from an international bestseller called The Leadership Challenge about there are basically 5 practices of exemplary leadership that all great leaders have. So you're going to learn about these at the camp. Things like model the way, which means that you lead by example, and inspire a shared vision, that it's not just you're working with your team and everyone's ideas working towards a common goal. Challenge the process, that good leaders question how and why we do things, and they and their team come up with solutions. Enable others to act. It's all about helping others grow in their capacity to serve. And that you encourage the heart, that you lead with compassion and care, showing respect and kindness. So that's one of our camp themes. But now, Eva, if you could come on and tell us about the leadership styles, which implies that there's more than one way to be a leader. And what do these images of these animals have to do with leadership styles? And talk us through these images from the camp of the students in these groups and what they're doing. So over to Ava.
Of course. So before you come to RYLA, you will take like a kind of like a compatibility test, and it will match you to a specific animal. Each animal represents a different leadership style. For example, the lion is more, you're more outspoken, you're louder, you have a more, what people kind of portray as a leader, as someone who's very out there, where like a peacock or a koala is a little bit more quiet and might not be as much spoken. Like an owl is like logical. They think things through before they say it and all that on all that. So we want to at RYLA we want to make sure that all different types of leaders is shown and appreciated, because we believe there's not one specific mold as for a leader. So you are put into these groups called lion, peacock, koala, and owl. And then we have these breakout groups that you will, as you see here, we have like little posters, and you talk about like some weaknesses and strengths about being your specific leadership style, your specific animal. And as RYLA goes on, we really want to implement the idea that you're not just specified into one specific thing, you're not put into a box, and a leader can be anyone and however you shape it.
Excellent. Perfectly said. Eva, what's your primary animal style?
I got koala for both.
Koala. Yeah, I'm a bit of a peacock. I love telling stories and presenting, very expressive. So great. So Wayne, if you could come on and tell us what is the story, what is the theme of a hero's journey at camp? And so students are in teams. Why are some teams wearing a Ratatouille chef's hat, or like another team might be wearing Shrek ears? What's that all about?
So basically, one of the main things about Camp RYLA is that the whole 5-day camp is centered around the hero's journey. So what the hero's journey is a model or a structure for how somebody, like in a movie, say Shrek, where Shrek is the main character, goes on a journey in order to find his own way of going through his problems and learning how to overcome his problems through different obstacles that are presented to him throughout the movie. And so we see that some groups are wearing Shrek ears, some groups have Ratatouille. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna get the lights real quick.
Yeah. So, so just to contextualize, the first day, so you will be in a group of about 10 or 12 students, and it's going to be a mixture of people from the different animal styles. We're going to try to not keep students from the same school together, a mixture of, some from SF, San Mateo, Marin. Wayne, are you back yet?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So, what I was saying about the different types of accessories that some of the people have in their groups are they're based on different movies, and we choose the movies based on the main characters or protagonists of the movies and how they combat the hero's journey. So Shrek goes on a journey of trying to honestly I forgot I forgot,
You don't have to know the story,
to
the specifics of Shrek, yeah, but just the hero's journey. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, so often, it's obvious that, we think of like Superman as, a hero and as a leader, but Shrek, or maybe you're part of Finding Nemo or Kung Fu Panda, that these are often unlikely heroes and unlikely leaders, but yet they all go on some quest and rise up to the challenge. And in doing so, transform themselves and kind of, defeat the evil like Harry Potter with Voldemort or, things or just do that. So that's kind of that. So it's a bit of a tradition that the facilitators will give their team some swag that it's all about having identity and also some fun. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide here, if we can get it. So we've already seen, for those of you who came, we just played the video of, this is on our YouTube channel, and there's links from our website. So we'll go ahead to the next thing. So Eva, team building is a really big part of what we do at RYLA. So talk us through what we're seeing here and the various ways of how the students are participating and learning about team building.
Yes, of course. So at RYLA, we have, I think it's 1 or 2 days that all the different, you are put with your team and a different team to go through these different team building activities. I like to call them like bonding experiences because with team building, it does require a lot of bonding, especially for these specific activities. For example, we have this low ropes course, which is basically you have to use the trust of another person in your group or another few people in your group to get across from one side to the other, and that requires a lot of trust. So in that team building activity, you gain that trust in your group. In another building activity, there's this bridge one where you have to get across from one side to the other side using these slacks of wood. And I kind of resemble that as a communication activity to gain communication amongst your group. And those are just some examples of the different types of activities that we have. And I feel like, especially for me when I was at RYLA, that really helped me bond with my group, especially since a lot of us don't know anybody or don't know the people in our group. And I think just having that experience to get through something all together as a team is really a transformative activity.
So, Eva, let me ask you, if you are someone who is absolutely terrified of heights, a lot of students love the zip lining. It's one of the hobbies. But if you are absolutely terrified, are we going to force you and have this really traumatic experience, or do you have the option not to do that?
Yes, you are never forced to do anything that you don't want to do. Of course, like with the low ropes course, for example, we do need spotters, of course. So if you don't feel comfortable with going on the actual ropes, you can always be a spotter and help your teammates out. With the zip line, you can always cheer people on or help people with their gear. Like there's always ways to help a teammate out.
Yeah, but also we encourage students to maybe go out of their comfort zone. So I know a couple of years ago, we had a young woman who was very shy and reserved, and she was a bit hesitant to go on the zip line. But her teammates and facilitators really encouraged to do it. And her facilitator asked her, how was it? And she said, it was amazing. I felt free. So can be, taking on these challenges. Eva, can you explain like what's going on? How is a mural art project or talk about the skits from the final night? Like, how is this also about team building or learning about leadership?
Yes, of course. So for the mural, basically throughout the 5 days that you are at RYLA, we do have 1 to 2 staff that help with the mural and to make it like as beautiful as it gets. But of course, each team has its chance to put its mark on the mural so that they'll always have that mural for their year of RYLA. And that just really shows team bonding and just shows like the beauty of how people can put their own like individuality into something and it can come out looking beautiful. And so that's something another bonding, especially for people who are a little bit more like creative, they like to color, draw, even if you don't. I don't really like doing it, but when I did it, it was like a lot of fun to be able to make something all together. And then for the skits, we do have a 5-ish minute skit that you create with your team. You create the script, you find the props and all of that. And that's something that I thought was really fun to do with your team because you can base it off your hero's journey that you are a part of, like your group, or you can base it off RYLA, anything like that. And we implement the 5 different properties that we have throughout RYLA, like model the way, and you kind of show that throughout your skit. So it's kind of like nice to have that opportunity to just get up on the stage and be there all together and just perform something that you guys created.
Yeah, and for some students, maybe you're really terrified of public speaking. Everyone in the group has to be on the stage, but maybe you don't have to have a speaking part. Maybe you're like a tree from the Lorax, right? And then we also have every night you'll be meeting with your team, with the facilitators to kind of reflect on the day, debrief, and work on your skit. So that's another element of the team building. So let's now go to the next thing. Wayne, let's talk about the personal growth. So could you talk about these plenaries and the workshops? Maybe give some examples of some of the speakers and sessions that you went to that you really enjoyed.
So for starters, the during camp, there are a lot of guest speakers that come to speak during it's part of your itinerary for the camp. So when I was a camper, I went to a there was a guest speaker that talked about climate change and how it wasn't too late to reverse the effects of climate change. And after that, we all got a book. But what I really enjoyed about the guest speakers that come to RYLA are that they're very like they have a lot of passion for what they do, and their energy sort of grows onto you, and it kind of inspires you to do something and make a change in the world. And the personal development workshops during camp are different topics such as listed here: money management, life after high school, public speaking, planning projects, and more. So one of my most favorite personal workshops that I attended when I was a camper was the life after high school, because I did not know if I wanted to go to college or if I wanted to go straight into trades or if I wanted to get a GED. So I went to this personal development workshop, had a board of just facilitators, staff, and also alumni. And they basically explained what they did after high school and how their path was of their career. And I think I learned a lot, um, not just advice, but I also took their experiences and it taught me what I wanted to. It like I kind of learned what I wanted to do after going to that section, to those sessions, and yeah, that's how I ended up in college. So
Well, that really means a lot to me, Wayne, because I actually am the one who kind of led those sessions while you were there. So just full disclosure, I did not pay Wayne to say these things. So that's great. So yeah, thank you. And you always get a choice of the workshops to attend. And when you're applying, we'd ask you about what topics of society issues and what skills you're looking to develop. So if you haven't yet submitted an application, submitting that, we really do look at that very carefully. We have a general sense of ones, like the one on finance called My Money Don't Jingle, It Jangles. We know is really good, but you can help shape the topics that we cover. So Wayne, can you tell us about Campfire? So Campfire is like this amphitheater with a stage, and we have a campfire every night. So can you tell us about what goes on in Campfire?
so basically, campfire is a it's a nightly, I guess, activity that campers go through for every night of camp. First night is first night's pretty, I'd say it's pretty chill. You spend time with your team, with people in your team, and there are many activities that you do during campfire. One of the activities that I remember was I think it was Night of Lights, where you have your phone flashlight on, and the alumni on stage talk about different things, different experiences that you've gone through in your life. And it basically, the point of that activity is to show you that like things that you might have gone through, other people have gone through too. So it basically helps you become more comfortable around your peers and allows you to open up a bit more. So you'll be able to interact more, get to know, and get closer with the people from the Bay Area. And
Yeah. Go ahead.
uh, the testimonials, the alumni and student campfire testimonials, are basically a section of camp where students can go up on stage, talk about their own life experiences, how they're feeling about life, how RYLA has changed them, and how they're feeling about camp so far. They can also just come up. It doesn't have to be too deep, like talking about past life experiences or major life events, but they can also just come up, shout people out, just be like, "Hey, so and so for my team did something amazing today. I wanted to shout them out," and it's just yeah, it's really chill.
Yeah, I think Eva, didn't you give a testimonial? I remember some of it's really powerful. And again, we never force a student to come up to give a testimonial. So it's all about, if you want to do it. Again, for some students, just coming to camp is a big step in their leadership journey. So, one of our facilitator videos, you'll see a guy named TJ. I think he's got a beard and kind of like a bee's hat. So he came to RYLA starting as a student. He talks about being so nervous that he almost didn't get on the bus. But obviously he did go, and he had such a great time that he has come back multiple times to be, one of the leaders of the camp. So it's all about your own journey. And again, yeah, making friends from across the Bay Area. So that's all about personal growth. So next, Ava, there's a lot of fun that happens, a lot of friends. So can you talk us through some of the recreational activities in the afternoon and some of the social activities in the evening?
Yeah, so of course there's so much fun to do at RYLA. Like not only do you grow as a leader, but you also get to hang out with new friends that you make. So we do have a pool, so that's definitely like an option if anyone wants to go and swim. We have paintball. If they want to go on hikes, they can go ahead and do that. They can breathe. There's like hammocks, and it's always really beautiful outside. So people like read in hammocks, talk to their friends. There are so many different things you can do. There's a room where with a few like games like foosball, and there's so many different options that you can do to bond with your friends. You have like an hour and a half to 2 hours, I'm pretty sure, of free time a day. So you're able to do that. And at night, after campfire, you have the choice to either go back to your cabin, or you can go to the chapel, which is basically where we have like different activities like karaoke, or you can talk with your friends or anything like that. So there's many options to keep you like entertained and having fun throughout camp.
Yeah, and one thing we started this year was stargazing. You just want to sit on the field and stargaze. So you mentioned that, yeah, the dancing takes place in the chapel. So RYLA is not a religious organization. The camp is owned by the Salvation Army, and they rent it out to many groups, including RYLA. So we just sometimes use their reference of their terminology, but it's not like you're going to be going to pray or anything like that. Wayne, talk about the food. Talk about how much we feed you, the quality of the food. That's a really important consideration for growing teenagers.
Oh, the food's amazing. It's better. It's better than the food that I get fed at Berkeley for sure.
Well, that's quite
Um,
an endorsement. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, the food at RYLA is amazing. They feed you well. The chefs and everyone, they're they cook really good food, and there's a lot of like variety in the menus um that are provided during the week of camp. And yeah, it's also
Did you go
buffet style.
hungry, Wayne, at camp?
Oh, no, never, never.
Yeah.
They feed you very well.
Yeah, it's a buffet. We asked you to kind of maybe, wait your turn, but, if you need to go back for seconds, thirds, and of course, on your application, if you have any dietary restrictions, we'll definitely take that into account. Great. Okay, so let's go ahead here. Let's talk about the impact of the camp. So every year we have a survey at the end of the camp, and we asked the students what were the highlights from the camp. And I took all of the answers and put it into ChatGPT and made a word cloud. So the bigger the word, the more often that it got mentioned. So you can see things like team building and new friends and self-growth and all the positive atmosphere. Really, sometimes students are making, individual activities, whether it's the stargazing or the gutter ball and have you. So I think this is showing the what's going on. So we also ask students to say, like, as a result of RYLA, do you feel more confident? Do you see yourself as a leader? And so green means that you agree, strongly agree, purple. And as you can see, it's off the charts in terms of students like, yeah, I actually really do see myself as leader. I feel myself more confident, or I feel better about working with people from differences or showing my appreciation. So really impactful things. Sometimes parents or students teachers will contact us after camp and be like, what did you do to my kids? What did you do to my students? Like, they come home like smiling and confident, and like, I'm happy about it, but like after just 5 days. So, obviously everyone's different, but it really can make some really significant things. So these are some actual quotes about students talking about the impact that it's have, about being more confident, saying to students like, I really felt like I'm finally seen and heard. I found my tribe. We've even had one student brave enough one year to say that they were suicidal coming to camp, and that RYLA saved their life, and that others felt like they were worthless. And now they're ready to take on the world. So let me stop sharing my screen here. We'll come back to the slides. But Ava, let's talk about you. Talk about your impact. So what year were you, what year of high school had you just finished at camp? Where were you in your life? And just, going into camp, what was it like? And yeah, what was your experience like?
Yeah, for sure. So I had just finished my sophomore year going into RYLA as a camper. I think I was at the lowest like self-esteem and like place that I've ever been in my life. And it was very hard for me to go out of my comfort zone. I felt like that whatever I would say, people like wouldn't like they would never like uh, want to hear my opinions, that I shouldn't like, talk because what if people judge me? So I was very soft spoken. I was very shy, and it was really hard for me to like kind of get out of my comfort zone when I first went to camp. And I think as the week went on, I've really gained that. And I think that was the really like big start of my own like journey of becoming who I know that I am. So coming back as an alumni, I think that's what really changed my life. I think being able to go up on stage and like go like way out of my comfort zone and talk about my life, and also having to learn these like different things that I had to say in front of a group of like 200 people. It was very hard for me, but I just really think that's what pushed me out of my comfort zone and truly made me confident in who I am as a person. And so Ryla really truly made me who I believe that I could be.
Yeah, and you're totally rocking it because you're helping running the camp. And when you say, "Oh, I used to be so shy," like I don't see it. So when you went to camp, did you know, did you go with friends? Did you know anyone? What was it like about, how easy was it to make friends at RYLA?
I didn't really know anyone. I did know some people from my school that came, but I wasn't friends with them. So I think it was definitely hard at first to like make friends because I was very shy. So again, as I said, so it was kind of hard for me to make friends at the beginning. So I had to put myself out there a lot, which is definitely an adjustment, especially when you're in a new place, like on your own. And I think that's what really pushed me out of my comfort zone. So I think that's what helped not knowing anybody, because then I was able to create bonds with people that I didn't know.
Yeah, and like you said, sometimes your leadership journey is just, it's not about like I'm gonna take on and start a club to save the environment. It's like, well, I'm just gonna reach out and maybe talk to the person in the line next to me, right? For the food. And I don't normally do that. And guess what? Like, it's not the end of the world, and it's a good thing, and it grows from there. So Wayne, how about you? What year of high school had you just finished? And again, where were you in your life? Who you were like, and yeah, going into RYLA and what your experience was like.
So, when I was a camper at RYLA, I had just finished my junior year of high school, and I was gonna become a senior in high school. And at the time, as a junior, I already had 3 years of experience in my own school's student government. I went to Westmore High School, and being in student government for 3 years, I even though I was for 3 years in student government, I still felt like I wasn't really a leader. I thought that being a student leader had to mean that you were like you had to know how to speak, you had to be eloquent, you always had to step up, you'd always have to lead from in front, and it just really kind of demotivated me, and I was considering quitting student government and just doing sports instead of joining being a student leader. But after RYLA, I found that there isn't just one way to be a leader. There's many types of ways of being a leader, and that taught me that I can be whoever I wanted as a leader. And so I found out that the type of leader I wanted to be was someone who was in the background, who supported people from behind the scenes, and that really helped me put a focus on my student leadership. And I came back my senior year. I ran for ASB vice president. I got the position, and I dedicated the rest of my senior year in student government to helping people, helping all the class presidents and all the other exec members from what they needed to support to achieve their goals. And yeah, it basically I was in a place where I didn't know what I wanted to do, and RYLA helped me find a focus on what I wanted to achieve and get out of student government. And also before RYLA, like I could never see myself like doing any type of public speaking. It just scared me. The only type of public speaking I've ever done up until RYLA was presentations for class projects or like just classes in general. But being an alumni helped me really get out of my shell, and I find myself being more self-confident, and just it's easier for me to just go up and talk to people. Like in college, I find myself like being able to talk to anyone, and it really helps in teaching. I currently teach a class at Berkeley, and it's just like I find it easier to just talk and teach in front of a whole group of students that I've never met before. And yeah,
Great. And how about friends? Did you know a lot of people going into RYLA? How did you go about making friends at RYLA?
so I was actually supposed to have two people from my high school join me as campers during RYLA, but they had their own circumstances come up and they couldn't make it. So I was just alone. I was alone at RYLA, and I thought I also wanted to like not go because none of my friends were going, but I decided to go anyways, and I do not regret I do not regret it at all. Even though I didn't know anybody, everyone was just so welcoming and so nice, and I think I made a lot more friends than I thought I would have. Like some people I still keep in touch right now. Some people go to school with me right now and I have classes with them. So going to RYLA gives you a lot of connections that may even last like years.
Yeah, I was actually at a Rotary event talking about RYLA, and I met some people who, were adults, and they said, "Oh, I did RYLA," and actually, some of the people that were in my wedding party were friends that I made at RYLA. So, anything is possible, but even if it's just friends for the time or other students, so like I'm from San Mateo, and I've never made friends from Marin, like that's part of the journey, and so I think that's a really powerful and great thing. So thank you both for sharing those testimonials, because it's one thing for me to say how great it is, but it's really hearing from your peers, which is really important. So let's go back to our slides here to that we can go through, and then hopefully have some time for your questions. So let's get into the logistics about it. So this will kind of give you a flow for the day of the life. And on our website, ryla.camp, if you go to the student section, there's a lot of resources, including a download of the day of the life. So the first day, Monday, and the last day, Friday, are a bit different. The first day, you're kind of getting to know your team, you're learning about the leadership styles. The last day of the camp, it's all about reflections and going back into the world. But Tuesday through Thursday kind of has a rhythm where after breakfast, you're doing these team building activities, which are mostly the low ropes. There's always breaks, there's always lots of food. And then after lunch, you might have a talk, and then there's going to be a choice of these workshops that Wayne was talking about before. And then there's going to be, about 2 hours if you want to go hiking, the pool, if you just want to chill and, in a hammock or read a book. The staff, our free time gets cut a bit short because we have a staff meeting, but that's okay. Dinner is a bit early. I'm not used to eating dinner at 5:30, but that's okay. And in the evening, you're going to meet with your team and really reflect on the day and kind of, what did you get out of it? What did you learn about yourself? Prepare for the next day, get ready for, preparing for the skit on the final night. And then, like we said, we have the campfire, which can be everyone together. Some moments are really serious and really very powerful. Others, it can be a lot of fun. And then, yeah, you find out, then afterwards, whether you want to dance and karaoke, hang out in your cabin. So it's a really full program, but we also think it's really fulfilling. So let's talk a little bit more about the staff. There's over 60 of us, and just to note that we are there not being paid. We are there because we believe in youth and we want to help make a difference. For the staff, it's actually a 6-day commitment. We have to show up on the Sunday, and also we have ongoing training and meetings. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. All of the staff are interviewed. Rotary has what's called Youth Protection Certification, where we actually have like fingerprinting for background checks and modules about like just, what's a safe, healthy environment. So the facilitators, you're going to have probably 2 in your team. They're kind of like your guide through the camps. Some of them are college students. Some of them are working professionals. Some are retirees. Ava or Wayne, any of you want to comment about the interactions that you had with the facilitators when you first went through RYLA as a student?
I mean, me and Wayne were both in the same group for
Oh,
RYLA.
really? Okay.
Yeah, so we both had the same. We only had one facilitator. He was TJ, the who you were talking
Oh,
about.
right. Yeah.
He was definitely like, I feel like he was the biggest, like, or one of the biggest parts of the RYLA journey. He really, I feel like he made you feel very heard, and I feel like most all of the facilitators, like, made you feel heard, made you feel welcomed, and I think especially with, TJ, he was very welcoming to all of us and made sure that we were all gonna have a good time, so I think the facilitators really help you, like, get the whole RYLA experience.
Yeah. Now, you said sometimes we try to have 2 facilitators, but sometimes last minute changes, or people are sick, or they have like a work emergency. But there's usually 2 of them. So Wayne, talk about the alumni. So each year we have over 20 alumni come back who either are still in high school or like you are now in college to help run the camp. So you want to just talk about what's the role of the alumni at the camp?
So basically, alumni are returning are people who have gone to RYLA as a camper and they want to come back to facilitate and be on the other side of camp in terms of planning out the schedule, planning out activities, planning out the whole camp basically. And um, being an alumni are for people who are very passionate about RYLA and who want to come back and make let other people experience what they experienced in RYLA and hopefully make them appreciate how much they appreciated RYLA. And so basically what it says on the slide there is to help lead camp activities and share the stories of RYLA and its impact. So as an alumni last year, I was part of the digital media committee, which we basically run. We basically work in the background to make sure that all of the activities, everything in camp goes smoothly, and that we're able to have the activities on time with no delays. Make sure everything just runs smoothly. And on top of that, I also take pictures and videos of camp and different activities that go around camp, so that you guys can get a photo album after camp and see what you guys did. And part of
Yeah,
digital
so you
media
can only
also
do
goes into
RYLA as a student once, but you can, there is an application process to come back as an alumni, and Eva and Wayne, you can actually come back multiple times to serve as an alumni. And then down the track, we'd love you to come back and maybe even as a facilitator one day. So also we do have more than nearly a dozen support staff, including 2 registered nurses. We also have a certified youth wellness coach. So if anyone's really, feeling any anxiety or just, just having, just there's something, sometimes camp can stir up everything that's going on in your life. They're kind of like a professionally trained person. Of course, your facilitators, they're not professional counselors, but they all have been selected as very caring people. But we do have professional staff for people, whether it's medical or mental health. And then we have staff, operations, logistics, so forth. So let's talk about the facility, Redwood Glen Camp and Conference Center, which is down in Scotts Valley, which I hadn't really heard of until I started going into camp. And it's just outside of Santa Cruz. So Eva, accommodation, housing is a very important thing on people's mind. Can you talk us through what's the situation for the students?
Yes, so for the housing, you all will be living in cabins for the over the 5 days. There is about like 10 to, yeah, as it says, 10 to 12 students per cabin. It's usually based off like your group that you have during camp, or maybe have other people as well a part of it. But with that, you have your it's bunk bed style. So of course, one on the top, one on the bottom. And then you share about, I think, two or three showers and like two or three stalls in your bathroom with a sink outside of the bathroom. So, they were always really clean for me in my cabin. So there was always clean. It wasn't that hard to get like be able to do everything you needed to do in the morning. So I think it was a very good, there was very good accommodations. So yeah, that was something that I felt like was, really was part of the experience, especially being more bonding experience with your cabin mates.
Right, yeah, and they are gender-based, and we do have the alumni down in the cabins to help supervise the facilitators, the support staff. We're on the other side of it, we get more like motel cabins. So Wayne, can you talk about just the setting of what's the area like? It looks really beautiful, and we've kind of talked about Boo, but just kind of highlight some of the other facilities there.
So, Glen Camp is basically out in the middle of the forest, so no Wi-Fi, no service. The whole point of camp is to reconnect with nature and the people around you. So you will not be able to use your phones for most of the day, which is perfectly fine. As a camper, I was low-key freaking out because I didn't have any service, but I learned to live without it and to interact with the people instead and not with my phone. So facilities, we have meeting rooms, dining hall, swimming pool, we have a sports field, we have a basketball court and a volleyball court too. And we have a theater and stage, which is where the campfire is held. The rec room, which is kind of like a mini library, has a pool table. No, not a pool table. It has a air hockey table and a foosball table, I believe. And we also have a ton of hammocks and picnic tables and a gazebo where you can basically just chill, talk with people. And that's where people also have their team meetings with your facilitator and hiking trails. So one of the facilitators, I think TJ, he
Yes?
leads the hiking. So during free time, you can go on a hike with all your other peers, and there's more activities. So
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful setting. You're surrounded by the redwoods. I love it. I come from San Francisco where it's always chilly, in July, and you get down there and it's sunny, warm days, cool nights. So just about cell phones, you can keep your phone with you. Yes, you can. And of course, you can take photos and videos while you're going through the activities. Yeah, the cell phone coverage is pretty much non-existent for the networks. You will get access to Wi-Fi. It's more controlled. So if in case you need to want to do like a WhatsApp call with your family, or maybe you need to register for classes, or you could always come into the admin office. But like Wayne said, we really want you to be present. And if you're holding a rope to make sure that your teammate is not going to fall out of the sky from the zip line, you can't be really on your phone. And if you're in a workshop or in a team meeting and someone's sharing something really significant, we want you to be present. So there will be limited times when we will give you the Wi-Fi access, and then we turn it off at other times. So again, for some people, this is a big adjustment, but I think a lot of people say it's one of the best weeks of their lives because you're just really living in the moment with all of these great activities. So we're going to be wrapping up shortly, take any questions. So you don't have to worry about getting to and from camp. So RYLA through Rotary arranges buses. So there will be a pickup spot in each of the three counties of San Francisco, San Mateo, and Marin. And you have just to make sure that you're there very early on the Monday morning, sometimes around like 7 a.m. The bus will leave with or without you, and will take you back to that same location on the late Friday afternoon. There are some students who their families do drive them to camp or pick them up. That is possible. The vast majority take the buses. And then, but just reach out to us if you need if you're going to be coming on your own. Okay, so let's just go over the eligibility. So again, you have to be current freshmen, sophomore, or juniors in our 3 counties. There are other RYLA camps for students in the other areas. So I don't think we have any 8th graders on the call tonight, but if you are in 8th grade, you cannot participate. You would have to wait until you at least are a freshman. If you are currently a senior, unfortunately, you can't come to camp because you're just at a different life stage. But of course, once you get into college, you could be a facilitator. You don't actually have to have done camp as a student to come and be a facilitator. So that's something to keep in mind. So Ava and Wayne, let's talk about maybe the qualities of the students we're looking for. So one, it's really important that you do commit to all 5 days. And so that, if you have to leave on Wednesday or Thursday because you have volleyball practice or family vacate, that's simply not possible. You need to be there for all 5 days. But Eva, in your mind, what is the profile of a student in terms of who RYLA is going to be a good fit for?
I think definitely for RYLA, you don't have to have any leadership experience. You don't have to be in student government in your high school. Like you don't have to have any of that. You just have to have an open-mindedness and a appreciation for trying to become a leader within yourself because everyone is a leader. You just have to find it. And I think just being open to the RYLA experience and taking it and giving it your 100% is all the type of people that we ask for to come to camp.
Absolutely, yeah. So, we've had some students that have never even joined a club, they're not active, or students say, I never even thought of myself as a leader. That's okay. If like Wayne, obviously you came with a lot of leadership experience, but you still got a lot out of it. So everyone is different. But what we really want is an attitude of respect for yourselves, for your fellow campers, students, the staff, the environment. And that you're really are going to show up and be fully committed. So the reason that it's called the RYLA is Rotary Youth Leadership Academy is that academy means that it is a place of learning and that requires some effort and reflection. Having said that, it's also going to be a ton of fun and it's going to be really a great experience. But if you don't come with the right attitude or if you're going to be disruptive, you will not last. On very rare occasions, we have actually had to send students home. We will give students a warning, and then we will ask you to pack your bags, and we won't even wait for your families to come collect you. We will just put you in the next Uber home, even if that cost us $200. So that's very rare, and we hope that's not going to be you, but we have a really special environment at RYLA, and we really want to keep that. So, as you're applying or as you getting to committing, make sure that you are willing to do this. So let's talk about the application process. Some of you have perhaps already applied. We are taking applications until April 15th or until camp is at capacity. So this year, we are only able to take about 150 students. It's first come, first serve, so that it could very well be that the applications will close well before the April 15th deadline. We don't have any quotas based on gender, your race, or school, your county. It's literally who is coming. There's no application fee. There's no deposit. It's basically a Google form. There's no essays, no interviews, no references. It's really about, am I willing and going to do that? Am I willing to commit? So you should be getting what we call like an offer letter within about 2 weeks. Now, I know some of you may have already applied and you're like, when am I going to get my offer letter? Just remember that we are a volunteer run organization. And this year we're actually hoping to use DocuSign. So when you get your letter, there are 2 agreement forms. One is about like an agreement and also a medical waiver and also to participate in like the ropes course. You have to sign it as a student and have to have one parent or guardian sign that. So we're working to start sending out very, very soon. However, until you return those 2 signed forms to us and get the confirmation from from RYLA, that is the only way to guarantee your spot. So you may get the forms, but if you've taken a couple weeks, you're busy, you're not sure, there is a chance that other students are going to be returning their forms. And once we reach that 150, we're really sorry, but we're not going to be able to do it. So once you get those forms, just sign it and complete it and turn to us as soon as possible. Okay, so once you get the things, you might not hear for us for a couple of months, and that's okay. Once you get that confirmation saying your place is here, you're good to go. As Eva said, there is this leadership inventory survey to find out what your primary animal is. We also help you to put you into your teams. We probably June or July, we will have some online pre-departure sessions to kind of go over the logistics of what to bring to camp, the meeting spots, to kind of review everything going that. Your parents are welcome to come to those things as well. If your plans change, that's okay. Please let us know. So if suddenly you can't get off of work that week, or you have to take care of your grandma, just reach out to us by the email so that we can know as soon as possible. All right, and this is just, we don't really need to do much detail now in terms of you're going to get reminders closer to the time of camp. You have to basically kind of bring your own bedding, like a pillow, sheets, towels. These will all be things that you can, that. So we want to leave some time for some questions, but definitely, obviously everyone's been to the website. Hopefully you've checked out our YouTube channel. We also encourage you to follow us on Instagram, especially in the lead up to camp, to kind of keep you warm and engaged of all of the things. Can always reach out with any questions. We are going to take time now for any questions. But in closing, really want to thank you for your interest. Wayne, maybe can you explain what is an affirmation bag and what that part of RYLA?
So affirmation bags are basically paper bags with your name on them, and there's an affirmation bag for everybody that attends RYLA, students, facilitators, campers, um, and alumni. And so basically, throughout the week, you can put in a little note for every person, for anyone that you want, either saying, "Oh, thanks for your energy. I really had fun hanging out with you," or just just words of affirmation to anybody in camp. And basically, at the end of camp, you get to take your bags home and you get to read all the notes that people write to you.
Yeah, it's a great tradition. So we are coming up on the hour. We are happy to stay on. We know that we have covered a lot tonight. So if there's anything that you're not sure about, you can either put your question into the chat, or if you want to say, "That's awesome, I can't wait." Also feel free to unmute yourself. Even if you want to bring yourself on screen, that's okay too. We're here to take any questions that you might have to kind of go over anything we've already covered that maybe isn't clear, or anything else that we actually have not thought of. Oh, any questions? Oh. Wow. Either that or everyone's just so tired and everything, like that. Okay. Well, so a couple things is that, oh, we do have a question. Okay. Thank you. Very helpful. Glad that it can be helpful. So a couple of resources for you. We will hopefully be sending out a recording of this and the slides. Also on the website, there are a lot of resources of those things that I talked about, like the day in the life. There's FAQs there, a lot more information. Of course, you can always contact us, by email, being that. So we look forward to having your application, and then, yeah, get those forms in. Eva and Wayne, any closing thoughts of just any reflections or any encouragement that you want to say to anyone who's thinking about applying or and attending RYLA?
For anyone who's thinking about it or has already applied, I definitely think that this experience is like nothing else you'll ever experience in your entire life. It is very rewarding, and I feel like I still implement the ideas and teachings that I got from Lila in my daily life now. So I think if you have the ability to, you should definitely come to this camp.
And Wayne?
I feel like RYLA is the only place where I've been able to truly be myself. It's a place where I can freely express myself and be my own person without any worries about um without any worries of like how I'll look in the context of being a part of this club or that club or being a part of this team. So yeah, when you go to RYLA, you're just by yourself and you can just let go. You can talk to anyone who you want to and just have fun while also learning about leadership and how to carry yourself as a student leader and how to be a member of society.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing. Obviously, where you're going to be growing as a leader and as a person, but we really have this really wonderful community that it's very positive and affirming, and we really believe that you have the freedom to be yourself, and that we ask everyone to completely respect that. And that is an incredibly freeing and affirming thing, right? So that is good. So thank you for your interest. We look forward to can you go over the housing briefly? Okay, Zachary wants to know about the housing. So maybe Ava, can you remind us what the housing situation is like?
So it is cabin housing. So yeah, like I said before, there's like about like 10 to 12 students in each cabin. There's basically how it's kind of looks if I try to give a visual. So there's one side of the cabin with like um 10 to 12 students in it, and then a bathroom, and then in between the other side of the cabin is like the alumni room. So basically you'll have 2 or 3 alumni that will be there, and also like if you need any help with like certain things you want to talk, we're always going to be there. And then also we have the bathroom, so 2 to 3 showers and stalls, and also we have sinks outside of the bathrooms. So there is all of that. And if you have any other questions, like specifics, you can go ahead and ask those. But that's like the general outline of what they look like
Yeah,
and how
and
they
they
are.
are bunk beds, and you just need to bring your own pillow, and either a sleeping bag or sheets for a twin bed. And yeah, like you said, it's basic, but it's clean, and it's only for 5 days, 4 nights. And that yeah, we put the young women in the cabins and the guys, separated. So if you're gender fluid, we would just ask like in terms of, which one that you would be, more comfortable, and work with you on that. So that is the housing situation. Great. Okay. All right. Any other final questions? Any other burning questions to cover before we sign off? No? No? All right, well, I really want to thank everyone. We're going to stop this and